rather than till all this white top in to weed, I'm pulling it by hand. It's pretty long and it's going to seed and it would wrap around the tiller tines, and I'm thinking I just want to pull it first and then we can use the tiller to weed. We should have been doing that all along and keeping the weeds down with the tiller, but you know, if you wait this long, then I just would rather pull it by hand. There's also a lot of raspberry canes from last fall in this section. And a maple tree. Don't need any maple trees from next door growing. Pull him out. The squirrels also plant walnut trees. We don't need any walnut trees growing, especially where we don't plan to put them. The squirrels like to plant them all over in the yard, and walnut trees come up everywhere in the springtime. This is the second crop of white top toward the end of May. I don't think it stops growing. It's a noxious weed. The morning glory is just barely starting to grow. We call it bindweed. And the puncture vine isn't growing yet. The puncture vine is also called goat head. It isn't growing yet. This is the end of May and we still haven't seen any puncture vine. We are past the little burr buttercups. They're all dying and hardening off their little burrs. But the white top, it just grows all spring. Here's some catnip. We've shared root off of this catnip, starts off this catnip 20 times and it still comes back. You just dig it and it keeps going. Since we had raspberries planted on this trellis and also the same type of trellis right here, there will be still raspberries coming up. You'll see a raspberry here. Here's a raspberry start. They'll come up, and as we see them, I'll scoop them up into a pot and we'll save them and move them back into this row, which has gotten pretty sparse since someone dug all the blackberries last fall. We had a friend come in and dig all these blackberries out. And they took some home to plant in their yard. But it kind of made a mess of the raspberry roots. So we can take some of these starts and build the heritage raspberry row out more formal. The original heritage raspberries came from two different sources. Since then, we've planted 16 different kinds of raspberries, experimented with all the different types of raspberries we had fun playing with. Heritage is an old-fashioned, dependable raspberry. The first year we planted the heritage raspberries back here on the north side of this big shop, we had the biggest, most beautiful heritage raspberries anybody had ever seen. A friend of mine that gardens a large space in town came over. I got half the plants from him and half the plants from another lady, and he said, "Wow, those are amazing." He'd never seen any heritage raspberries so big. The fruit was so beautiful. Okay, almost done pulling up the white top. This stuff goes to seed. Might as well pull up what we can before we till. And now I'll run that tiller down between the rows. Finish the fine weeding. Stir up those roots. The white top are like bindweed. And they're like thistle. The more you till them, the more you cut them up, the more the plants they grow. So you just have to keep chopping them down. These little raspberries will transplant. Okay, get out there to the end of the row a ways. A little bit more right here. Okay, so careful not to knock those off. Let's take out this raspberry right here. Set that in the pot. Get out of there. They're stuck together. There goes. This Proven Winners pot reminds me of a neighboring YouTuber. One of my inspirations for starting a YouTube channel. And that's Garden Answer. Garden Answer is sponsored by Proven Winners Nurseries. I see how much good they do to promote the idea of gardening, teaching how to garden. I love doing it, but I don't always have a lot of time, so I finally decided to take some time and just do it. This is a raspberry that needs to move over to that side. See if I can get enough roots out of it. That's quite a lot of root. Put it down there in the dirt. Here's another one, out of line. These have been here for a few years, so the roots are pretty deep. That's good. There's another one back here by the bees. We'll take him out. A little bit rocky right there. The honeybees are busy today. That's good. I'll take that heritage and put it in a pot for now while we clean up that row there, and we'll place it in. So when we planted the broccoli a month ago, you can't see, but there were lots of little heritage raspberry starts in here. Over here in the shade, I have 20 pots filled with raspberries. And they look nice and green. Here's another one. Let's take him out. Put in the pot. Any more? There's one right there. That's pretty close to the broccoli though, so I think I'll just pull that one off. All right, good. Let's move these off to the side. I'll grab the tiller and run up and down the row real quick before we lay the irrigation line. Testing, testing, testing.